Hey folks, so I've got some of it done. What you see there is about all I've done so far. Yeah, looks like Zach hit something. He's got a vent missing and a big crack. Probably trying to get in the driveway here. Oh my goodness. So I just walked down to Timmy's, grabbed me a coffee. And I made up my mind, wow, I've been sitting here for like maybe a minute before I turned the camera on. I got the sun shining. I can feel the heat. I like that idea. So, I'm going to be talking about the heat here in a minute. But, before I get to that, I have a cost on the Monster's front bumper. Less than I expected, more than I'd hoped, which is typical with the Monster parts. So it's just where you can see it. So that, minus the plastic and minus my headlight, $95. $95 for a bunch of bent bars with holes in them. So and that's the cost, $95. And I gotta pay the shipping on top of that. It's drop shipping, so wherever it's being stored at the moment, it'll ship directly to me. It won't go to the dealer, and then otherwise I have to pay shipping twice. So it's gonna be over $100. So it's gotta have to wait till March, beginning of March. I don't have that much spare money right now because I've already spent it on other things. So, like I say, it's more than I'd hoped, but less than I expected. Because I'm sure, I was hoping it was less. Because I doubt very much ODSP would pay for this. I'm not even going to try. It's not an essential part, so they probably won't pay for it. And I told my dealer, I said, I'm going to have to wait, like, hold on to the information. I'm going to have to wait to the beginning of next month, unless you think ODSP would pay for it, and I haven't heard back from them, so I think even the dealer doesn't think they will. So, I'm not surprised. But, that's okay. So, I discovered a problem, I keep forgetting to talk about this, with my tripod. And I'm not gonna, maybe I will get it out. It'd be easier to show you than try to explain it. Okay, so I've shown why I wanted this tripod, and I showed how it's set up. And the camera mounts front to back this way. Well, this here really doesn't do much. I tightened it up, sorry. It really doesn't do much of anything. All it does is, I'll loosen it enough here, is tilt the camera side to side. Now, that's no big deal, because once I'm using it, all I'll be doing is panning anyways, so I won't need, and maybe up and down like this, but I'll have to loosen this bar in order to get it to pan vertically. So it's kind of pointless, but for this purpose, it's not a big deal. Problem is, after the neighbor's house across the street burnt, within a couple of weeks we had 2 more house fires in town. And the first one I went to, I tried to use this as a regular tripod. I didn't feel like getting everything set up. And it was working fine. But the problem is, the fire department was up on the ladder taking the siding off the side of the house. I have no way of panning up to it because the camera mounts this way. So all it's going to do is tilt the camera sideways, which is what was happening. I have no way of. The only way I could do it is to loosen this up and adjust the level, right? But that's annoying and limited. So there's one thing I do not like about this camera, or tripod. So what I'm thinking of doing is when this is on in here, let me do this without knocking it over with one hand. So when this is on here, this is just screwed onto the end of the bar. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm thinking of getting a ball mount. I like this quick disconnect. If I could turn it, like there's no way I can turn it so the quick connect is this way. Hang on a second. I saw this seam here, so I thought maybe you'd be able to take it off and turn it 90 degrees, but no, that seam is just where the plate is, just the tilt. So there's no way to take this off to turn the quick connect 90 degrees. So that really sucks. So this camera mount is useless when using it as a regular tripod. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. So it's good for what I want it for. I want it for panning. That's what I bought it for, and it's going to work for that. Plus this disconnect, it has two of them. One that's on the bottom of this camera, and one I can put on a different camera if I want to switch cameras, you know, at the scene or whatever. So I like that. And if I get ball mounts aren't cheap. There's a lot of complaints about ball mounts being unable to handle heavy cameras. I don't need to worry about that. This thing weighs next to nothing. This is the main camera I'll be using anyways. And my cat car is heavier, but it's less than an SLR. So I shouldn't have a problem with weight. But they're not cheap. And I don't know, if I put a ball mount on there, the tripod might not even fit in the case anymore. I don't know. So, oh man, my feet are itchy already. Those of you who watch, you know what that means. I gotta get my socks off. And I still want to try to do more work. So I asked Zach if I could get out, and he says, I don't know. The monster takes the entire width of the door. So it's a definite no. I said, well, are you parked in the same place you were yesterday? He said, yes. I said, okay, then I can't get out. He says, you want me to move? I said, well, what I was thinking is if I can push the monster out, that'll give me incentive to shovel to get back in, right? I'll have a reason to shovel. Right now, I don't have a reason to. I want to get something done. So he leaves for work at 5, but you know, he says, can you get the blower out? And I says, well, I'm not even going to attempt the blower. It won't go through this. It's way too wet. And it's above freezing right now. Everything's melting, which is good. I'm happy. But it's going to take some time. It's not going to be like a super warm day. It's going to be a gradual melt. And every time it freezes overnight, it's going to be a little harder. Like, substance harder, not difficult harder. But substance harder will make it difficult harder as well to clean up. So I want to get as much done as I can, but I don't know. I'm taking a break right now. I figured this would be a good time to start this video, because I got a bunch of things to talk about. And I wanted to start with the Monsters bumper. The cost of it, I will buy it. It's just gotta wait till the end or beginning of next month. Okay, I got a lot more done. Martin's car's not here right now, so I wanted to get rid of the snowbank. Zach's parked here. Martin's parked there. And there was a big snowbank in between them. So I'm working on that right now. I thought I was going to get it all finished, but no, it's break time. I got a lot more done than I expected though. So that's a plus. So If you don't know who Martin is, I have talked about him, I think, but it's Michelle's boyfriend. He's kind of living with us now, kind of a trial basis, before it becomes official. Less expensive for him to live here, but at the same time he's going to be using more in gas because he works so far away. And in the winter time, there's, as he says, there's not a whole lot of highways around here that'll take you to the 401, right? And we tend to have closed roads up here in the winter. So he's not here. He's gone to work. It's actually even at 5, and it is 3:30 right now, almost. So, okay. I've been talking about this project I've been working on. Most of you know I have another channel, north here on FD, where I'm moving all my fire department videos over to on their own specific channel. And it's doing pretty good. Actually, I don't have a lot of subscribers, but I'm getting a lot of views. I did the fatal house fire here in Wingham, and within a day it was over 1,000 views, and 3 days it was up to 4,000. I'm not sure how long it's been now, but it's like almost 7,800 views, and I've got like 36 subscribers. Remember what I said in an earlier video, realistic advice to new YouTubers or something like that? I made the point of do not restrict your videos, do not turn off the ability to share and embed and stuff like that. This is the result of that. I've got 38 subscribers. And if my video got almost 7,000 views, those are not subscribers watching. Those are people who've never been to my channel, okay? That's the importance of sharing. And if my channel was monetized, I'd get some nice money. But, it's not, and it never will be. I'm not even sure if I can legally monetize, because you're allowed, it's not against the law to listen or even record the scanner recordings, but it is against the law to use them for commercial purposes. I'm not sure what that means. Reporters use them, so they know when there's a call they have to go to get a news story, right? Newspapers make money, it's a business, so wouldn't that be commercial? You know what I mean? I just don't know. So I don't monetize them just in case. I just don't know. Because even though it's YouTube, I'm still, earning an income from it, from ads. So to me, that would be commercial. I'm profiting, you know what I mean? So I don't monetize them. And I don't know, I guess that's the point. But I'm doing things a little bit differently. I don't have all the original files anymore. Most of them it doesn't matter, but some of them I wish I did. So I have to take the video from my current channel, this channel, and rebrand them, which means I have to, re-edit them and everything. And it's kind of difficult in some cases, but it gives me a chance to do something different. The waveform that you see on the screen, I'll put it down here now. I use WavePad. Wow. WavePad Audio Editor, I believe it is. And Master's Edition. The reason I use Master's Edition is because Master's Edition has the option of outputting this waveform as a video. and there's very few settings. There's almost no control over it whatsoever. I can add a couple things to the display or whatever to add to be outputted with the video, but it's I don't like them. I don't even remember what they were, but it's just something it doesn't add to it. And the other thing is I have the option of how much I want on the screen at one time. I have it set at 10 seconds. So at any given time, whatever you're seeing down below here is 10 seconds of audio from side to side. And it's scrolling across. Right in the center you can just barely see that little line there. That's the center point. So whatever's passing that is what you're hearing at this very moment. I can't get rid of that. That's always there. No matter what I do, that is always part of the video. So the one control I don't have is the color. This ugly blue is the only color it will output in. So if I want something different, I have to use my video editor, and I just don't bother because it's such a pain to do it. I should say I haven't bothered. But I decided to do things differently this time, and I am actually, doing something different. I'm changing the color. I don't like that blue. Because when I show the maps, that color, it kind of blends in with them. I make them a little bit opaque so you can see through them, so it doesn't cover everything on the screen. But it's when you show, the scene from Google Earth, it's green, and this is kind of a bluish green color, so it doesn't show up very well. So I found a way to do it, and what I do is I take this ugly blue and I go into art filter, I think it's called, and I add dye to it, and I dye it yellow. It's now yellow. So I no longer make them opaque, I leave them as they are. I don't need to. The way I'm doing it now, I shrink it down to a small size on the screen so it doesn't take up much room, usually at the bottom. But it's now yellow, and I give it just a tiny little bit of blur, so you'll see the blur come through. And then I add a second, I shrink it down to the size I want, which is going to be on the video, which is pretty small. And then I take the waveform a second time, add it in, and I shrink it down to half the size of the first waveform that I made, overlay it on top in the center as best I can, and I turn it red. And once I get that in there, I fade it to the point where it doesn't have sharp edges. So now, once it's all complete, my waveform now looks like flames. The better I get at feathering the edges of it, because I don't do horizontal blur, I only do vertical blur, because the horizontal blur makes it look really weird. So I only do vertical, and depending on how much blur I actually give it, it sometimes actually looks like flames. It's really cool. So that's what I do now. It's a little more work, but it gives a better effect. I like it. So, for the past couple months, I've been talking about, I got a lot of stuff that needs to be done now. And one of the projects I've been working on is a channel trailer for that channel, for my North Huron FD channel. Well, I finally finished it last night. Took me 2 months to put all this together. I had to go through all my scanner recordings, chop it all up, take out the little bits of what I want to use or might want to use, and the same thing with all the video that I have. Chop it up, all the parts that I might want to use, and then go through it. I did the audio first. The difficulty that I had was the scanner recordings all sound different. When I first started, I had a lot of static in them because I didn't have a very good antenna, and there was a lot of buzzing, and the calls were all at different volume levels. So I tried to even out the volumes with my editor. It sounded good. They all sounded the same volume. So I rendered the video as an audio, uploaded it to YouTube, unlisted, so I could listen to it. I listened to it on my computer. It sounded fine. So I sent the link to Cody, asked him to listen to it, and he said the volume levels are all over the place. Because I added music, and what I was actually asking him is the music too loud. Well, he didn't care about the music. It's just the rest of it was. He said it was really bad. He likes it. It's great, but it's just the volumes are all over. So I said, well, that's kind of weird because I listened to it and it sounded normal. So he's listening on his phone. So I listened to it on my phone and it's horrible. I don't know why there's such a difference between listening on the computer and listening on the phone, but there was a huge difference. So okay, what would cause that? So he thought maybe left and right channels. Well, I record the scanner as mono, so it's on both channels as it is. The problem is, I think, the only thing I could think of was some of them were original audios, directly recorded from the scanner, and some of them are from videos I don't have the originals for anymore. So the original scanner recordings are mono. The ones I snagged from videos are in stereo. Could that make a difference? I don't know. So what I did was I took the audio that I outputted and I loaded it into WavePad, and I could visually see, looking at the waveform, I could visually see the difference in volumes. It's like, wow. So I outputted it as mono. I think I said that already. So I'm looking at a mono thing now, so everything's going to be the same. And I cut it at different places where the volumes change. And I raised some up, I lowered some down, and went through it, and it sounded okay. So then I went through it again, and got rid of as much static as I could, got rid of as much buzzing as I could, which of course when I do noise reduction, it lowers the volume anyway, so I got to adjust the volumes again. I went through it so many times, and I think I have it now. Just to be sure, I uploaded it to YouTube, listened to it through my computer, listened to it through my phone. It sounds better. It's a huge, huge improvement. So then I started going through all the video, and I didn't want to just show random video. I have very little actual scene video that I could use. Most of the video I have is the fire department responding or water shuttling and refilling videos. I have very little videos from, actual fire scenes. And I wanted to as best I could, to match it to what was being said. And it was really, really tough. That I didn't have what I needed for that. But I did what I could, and I think I did a good job on it. I really do. Like I say, it took me 2 months of work. 2 long months of constant work on it. Like, that's almost all I've been doing, is just working on this one video. And like I say, I had a lot of content to go through just to prepare for it, right? But it's like, it's been insane. But I finally got that done. It's uploaded. By the time you see this, it'll be on. I will put a link in the description, but I'm going to show it at the end of this video, just for those that don't want to go to my other channel. It's just, wow. It was so much work. But I'm done that. That frees me up. Okay. That frees me up to start on the next project. I've got so much that needs to be done, and like I say, most of it needs to be done now. But that was a huge project I wanted to get out of the way. So I got my channel all set up now. I got a banner image on it, which I didn't have before. I've got playlists all set up. I don't think I'm going to do as much as what I did with this channel as far as setting up the main page. I just going to have the channel trailer and playlist, that's it. But I don't know. Someday down the road, maybe. I don't know. But for now, I'm happy with what I got. So I'm going to go back to work here. And next break I take, I got to talk about one more thing, which I like the sounds of. Hey, break time again. So I basically got the entire driveway done now, except for on the other side of Zach, because in order for me to clean that up, I have to carry it over to this other side, and it's not going to happen. So now that all the storms are over, and all the snow squalls are over, Martin will probably be parking out on the road again, and then Zach can move over to where he's supposed to be, and I can deal with it from there. I have no idea what's under his car. I don't think there's a lot there. So I cheated. I didn't. Let me find a comfortable place here for my arms. My arm's rubber now. I didn't scrape it right down to the driveway. I just kind of scraped the top layer off. I just kind of pushed it to the end and just kept going. Once I got a little pile at the end, I just kind of heaved it up onto the snowbank. That was so much easier. It's going to melt anyways, right? So, the last time it happened, if you remember, the snow was supposed to stop at a certain specific time, and it didn't, so they extended it to this other next time, and it was supposed to end, and it didn't, and it just kept extending it. The same thing happened this time. After the storm went through, the snow squall started up, and it was supposed to, Thursday was the day we got the storm. Snow squalls were supposed to start up that night and end Saturday morning. Well, Monday afternoon comes along. And Monday afternoon was the previous video that you just watched. If you watched it. So, it lasted a little bit longer. I think we had to have got a foot of snow. It doesn't look like that now because a lot of it's melted, so it's compacted down. But, you know, it makes it more difficult to clean up, unfortunately. I'm not going to bother with the walkway. Once the melt period is over with, if it does, then it'll refreeze into ice, and I'll use the chopper then. It'll be a lot easier. It's easier to chop up the ice than it is to scrape up this hard stuff here. So, speaking of weather, so last thing I'm going to talk about today, I watched a very promising video. Should I talk about this first, or show the video? I'll show the video first, I think. I'll let Ryan Hall explain it, and just listen to the year that he says, that he mentions.
For the past 3 years, our weather pattern has been dominated by cool waters in the Pacific known as La Nina. But over the past few months, those waters have been warming up dramatically, thrusting us into what we call a strong El Nino. This has had profound impacts on our winter weather here in the US, and its influence will continue to be felt as we go into spring and tornado season. The influence of La Nina is very apparent in the archive of tornado coverage we've done here on this channel. And it all boils down to La Nina's impact on our jet stream winds here in the US. Thanks to those cooler waters in the Pacific, leading to decreased storm activity near the equator, our upper level winds here in the United States are allowed to wander farther north. This allows storms to more often pull in warm, moist air into tornado-producing systems. But this year, I think we're going to be looking at a completely different picture. The cool waters around the equator have been heating up, leading to a moderate to strong El Nino. This is actually causing more thunderstorms down there, and and therefore a more concentrated subtropical jet stream interacting with the southern U.S. This is keeping the majority of our flow of jet stream winds farther south and not allowing as much moisture advection into the U.S. As a result, if this continues into spring, less tornadoes may form due to a lack of activity. But that's what would happen if El Nino continues to dominate the weather pattern in the typical way. And of course, things can't be that simple. What we are about to experience is not typical. Even though we are coming off of an extended La Nina run that lasted a whopping 3 years, it looks like our El Nino will be over in a blink of an eye. In fact, the waters in the Pacific Ocean are already starting to cool off a bit. Now, don't get me wrong, they're still really warm right now, but the consensus is that the warming period has stopped, and all those thunderstorms down there are going to start the process of cooling that water down. This is going to cause a major ripple effect in our weather patterns that will change everything. The forecast is for the waters in the Pacific to start really cooling off as we go towards summer. So this spring, we are actually going to be in the beginning stages of transitioning away from El Nino, which will bring about slightly different weather patterns from what we are used to seeing during a static El Nino or La Nina. Instead of seeing a steady and locked in subtropical southern jet stream, at some points we may get more wobbles and kinks. And it is possible that during this transition, when those jet stream winds are allowed to wander farther north, a lot of pent-up energy down south will be unleashed, leading to a period of increased storm activity in the states, especially in the Great Plains, or what is typically known as Tornado Alley. This burst of energy is usually followed by what we call tornado outbreak sequences, and they typically happen in May. There are several examples of this in the past, including as recently as May of 2016. This also lined up perfectly with a weakening El Nino and eventual transition into La Nina, just like we are seeing this year. And I think the forecast for this year is going to be very similar to 2016 in a lot of ways. But another really important thing to point out is that El Nino and La Nina are not the only things that control our weather here in the US. There are other oscillations that impact our weather on a broad scale, like the NPO, or North Pacific Oscillation. And basically what we're looking at here are the temperature anomalies in the Pacific Ocean, but upstream from the United States in the northern Pacific. You see, usually when the equatorial Pacific waters are cooler than usual, or when we are in a La Nina, the waters in the North Pacific are actually opposite or warmer than average. Same goes for when we are in an El Nino, we expect the North Pacific to be cooler than average. They're usually flip-flopped. But what's really interesting about this year is, even though our El Nino will be transitioning out, for most of the spring, the waters near the equator will be warm. And despite this, we are expecting the waters in the North Pacific to be warm this spring as well, so we won't see that opposite effect that we normally do. This is so uncommon that it really narrows down the process of looking for similar occurrences in the past. In fact, in order to find the most similar situation to what we are experiencing this year, I had to go all the way back to 1991.
Hey, so when I talk about the weather, when I talk about hot summers, I have mentioned on more than one occasion, way back when, that one year we had an El Nino, that was my favorite summer. It got hot in May and it stayed hot all summer long. That just happens to be 1991, the year he is referring to, that the last time this pattern setup existed. Is it possible we have a nice hot summer this year? I hope so. I would love to have another year like that. Even though I didn't have fibromyalgia back then. I had my back pain. I had my scoliosis, but I was still able to enjoy every single day that year. And I also mentioned that same period, I was living in a motel at that time. I wanted to get out of my parents' house. I wanted to be on my own. Not that I disliked my parents, I just wanted to be on my own. I've never lived away from my parents, the house I grew up in. So I was renting a motel room. And I would go out, enjoy the night. I'd get home in the early morning as the sun's coming up. I'd go to bed at 6. I'd get up at noon. I'd go out and enjoy the hot summer, the hot afternoon, hot sun. And then the evening comes along, I'd go out again. That was my pattern for that year. I loved it. I go to bed at 6 in the morning, get up at noon, and enjoy pretty much the whole day. So I'm not much of a morning person. I don't like mornings anyways. So I slept through it. From 6 a.m. to noon, I'd sleep through it. Somebody came by before noon, knocked on my door, and I talked about this too. He accused me of being lazy because I was sleeping in. No. How many hours of sleep do you get? 8 to 10. Well, then you're lazier than I am because I'm only getting 6, right? The time of day you sleep has nothing to do with it, you know. If you go to bed at 8 at night and you're sleeping till noon, that's a all different story. But to be accused of being lazy because I'm not sleeping the same time you're sleeping, screw your head on straight. Got nothing to, it's a perception thing. It's got nothing to do with the time of day. Some people work nights, they sleep all day. Does that make them lazy? You know what I mean? It's perception. You judge people based on what you do, you're gonna have problems, right? So, but anyways, I love that year. I just absolutely love that year. I enjoyed the afternoons, I enjoyed the evenings, I enjoyed the nights. And I would love to do that again. I'm not physically able to though. But as long as I can get out every day and enjoy the hot summer or the hot afternoons, which is what I like, you know, that's my preference. I love hot days, above 30 degrees. I love them. My electronics don't like it too much. I might have to get bigger fans for my hard drives. There's a little... the fans that I'm using right now are out of a computer. Well, they're not. They're brand new, but that's what they're for. They're like the fan you would have in the power supply inside your computer. That's what I'm using to cool them right now, and I don't think there's enough airflow on them. So once it starts getting really hot in there, I might have to go with bigger fans. I don't know. I don't know. I've got a 12 volt power supply on them or 5 volt. I think they're 12. I'll have to look. So I'll have to stick with 12 volt or 5 volt if that's what they are, but we'll see. But I wanted to bring that up. Ryan is predicting same conditions as 1991, or same setup as 1991. So if that's the case, then hopefully we get the same weather as 1991. Now I don't remember what storms were like that year. I know there was one year we had a tornado in Paris, minor, like EF0, but we did have one at one point in time. I don't remember if it was that year or not. And I talked about riding my bike in a hurricane. It was like riding under a waterfall, but it was like super warm water. That might have been the same year as well. I'm not sure. But either way, I'll take the hot temperatures. That's what I like. And that's what I'm hoping for. And I'm done with this. Anytime now I see white on the ground, I want it to either be feathers or the little fuzzy things that fall from the trees in the springtime. I don't know. But either way. So I'm going to end this video with my fire department channel trailer, full length trailer, and just see what you guys think of it. I'm happy with it. There are things I'd like to improve, but you know, after spending 2 months on it, motivation's not really there to do anymore. So once I had something that I liked, that was complete and usable, that's what I went with. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to request 2 tankers out of Blythe as well. I'm just turning on to 86 and I have a large volume of smoke in the air. Fire dispatch. Tank 9, Tank 8, Engine 6, arriving scene.
Heavy smoke on the Bravo side, heavy smoke.
I need water. What's your ETA? Yeah, roger that. It looks like the roof's starting to cave in, so it's going to get a big gulp of air here real soon. I need you to exit the building. It's the same way you came in. We do have the floor burnt right out of the center of the house. I'm asking for a full response out of the C4 station and Brussels station. And just an update for your notes, we have firefighter being assessed by EMS.
Negative, we were just there, but engine 6 is out of commission in the ditch. She's breaking through here real bad on this problem wall. We need water. Tank 9, stop where you are. You can show both propane tanks. 20-pounders have gone off.
Dispatch, I have a 60-year-old male kicked by a horse.
2 vehicle MVC. I have at least 4 patients here. As far as that entrapment goes, what do you need?
All tankers be advised, the brakes and hydrant is frozen. Car 3, make sure we have a full response to fly it, okay? Car 4, I need that truck here ASAP. But I want you guys to come code 3. This is a fairly significant fire.
Dispatch, we have a propane truck upside down. Do you have an EVA for water?
Engine 1, I'm going to need you to make your way as close as you can with airbags, rescue equipment. Ladder 2, stage at the road. Tank 4, bring in your manpower.
Engine 6, I need more pressure on that first 2.5.
Entry Team 1, exit the building.
Fire dispatch command. You can show air ambulance landing.
I can see the flames from Wingham. I don't know what your location is, but the steel's starting to fly off the roof. I need everything we got. I don't care if we have trucks coming from any municipality. I need them all here now. Yeah, I pulled the crew out of the main floor of the ceiling, crashed in on them. Maybe pull everybody out. But I really want to support this one dairy bar that's not going yet, but we've only got seconds to stop it.
Car 2, this is tank 4. We've had engine 1 rollover.
Roger that. If you can do just a primary search and hit what you can, I'll get ladders on the second story.
Just to get in because it's in the ceiling. The fire's in the ceiling.
Dispatch on our primary search is now complete. We've located a one male body. It's attempting to remove right now. All people requesting nothing moves on that vehicle as of now.
Car 2, car 1's on scene. Engine 1 is on its side here. I'm just going to check with the occupants here.
Once we get this open right up, we're going to start moving a lot more water.
Smoke conditions here are deteriorating. Smoke is extremely heavy now. Have you seen some to assist with extrication, some to assist with patient care?
Structure deemed unsafe, nobody entered. There's car parts and an engine block sitting in the middle of the road, so we're going to be here for a bit.
We have 1 patient trapped.
Yeah, we just hit a snow drift. We got sucked into a ditch. We are euchred.
There's no way we can get that truck back here. It's too wet and muddy.
They've got 5 hydro poles down on Brussels line.
We got a fully engulfed garage fire attached to a house that's spreading into the house.
We're going to need the jaws here. Could you get OPP to attend? I've got people driving over hoses here. The high heat, lots of smoke back to the building.
Yeah, roger that. Not enough power to get up the hill.
Yeah, roger that. We've been there a few times. Use caution. We have a pretty significant working fire here. I need all the guys on the road up here. Yeah, roger. Things are changing. Yeah, you've been in there about 6 minutes. So what's going on?
To show we had evacuated as many houses as possible.
About 15 feet in, the floor is compromised. There is no floor. Man, we got collapse of second story. Dispatch, you make sure you get OPP, and I'm going to need multiple ambulances. Fire dispatch, we got a fully engulfed dairy barn.
Fire dispatch, show car 2 on scene. We have a fully involved structure fire.
Dispatch, you show 1 firefighter being transported to Wingham Hospital.
Due to poor fire conditions, we could not complete a primary search of the structure.
Engine 6 is off the road. I repeat, engine 6 is off the road.
Homeowner being treated for our smoke inhalation and slight burns on her hair with EMS. We've got shingles blowing off houses and the hydro lines are blowing all around. I'd just like to shut the road down. On scene, confirm full structure fire. Supply station, please dump your whole hull.
Roger that, upgrading code 3.
Fire on this line over at the far end. I got a skid steer on fire. Water now.
Up at the top where we're working, if you can relay that to their dispatch, please. We have a firefighter now.
Dispatch, you can show 2 more EMS units on scene. Engine 6, pull right up here. Come right to me.
Engine 1, we need more pressure. Engine 6, I'll take as much water as you can send.
I need 2 firefighters on the Delta side.
I'm going to request an additional tanker from Alec. Yeah, I've had something change here. I need the hazmat equipment off the top of that truck, so if you guys can make your way back, code 2, please. Dispatch, I'm assuming OPP is entered. This is the second MVC involving the station today. The gym area, I do see a haze of smoke. Smells like maybe electrical.
Looks like lightning's hit a telephone pole in the tree. We do have live wires.
We have heavy smoke showing. Stand by for more information.
Dispatch, we have how Turnberry Road shut down at this point for emergency vehicles.
We have a fully involved structure at this time. We have one vehicle into a house.
Dispatch, you can mark fire under control. Pump off that porta tank and we'll call it a day. Dispatch, scene's been turned over to the property owner. Command's terminated. And thank you for all your help today. Much appreciated. We're closed for the evening.